One thing that we have to deal with as flat earthers from the heliocentric enthusiast community is the idea that they always say that we have absolutely no evidence to support what we believe. Well, I think I'd like to weigh in on that and do what I can to provide a little more evidence that supports this idea. Today we're going to be talking about the sun. You're going to want to hang out until the end for this one. Now, what we're told according to the heliocentric model is that the sun is 93 million miles away. We're going to start off by talking about the distance. We'll talk about the size in a little bit. The thing is, according to what we see, these CGI images from the sun, we always see the solar system and it's never to scale. You never see a representation, graphical representation of the sun being 93 million miles away from the Earth and all the other planets, you know, in relation. You never see it that way. Every time the sun seems to be small and close, it's right at the center. There isn't a whole lot of distance in between the sun and the rest of the planets. Definitely not 93 million miles of distance in scale on these little CGI images. Okay? Also, another red flag in that whole idea is that it is CGI. The fact that every time you see the solar system, you see the sun and the earth in the sky and all that, out in space, it's always CGI. That should be a red flag. Okay? The sun, if the sun is 93 million miles away, you know, we have these images, we have videos where the sun leaves a hot spot on the clouds or on the surface of the earth. As you can see here in this footage from Dog Cam, you see the weather balloon has a camera attached to it. It's floating above the clouds and all that, and you can see a hot spot. Now, if the sun were 93 million miles away, there's no way it will be able to leave that little spot there on the clouds, but right there you can see it. Or from this video that I took personally from an airplane, you know, on a flight from Little Rock to Houston, you could see the sun seemingly right above the surface of the earth, and you could see this spot where it appeared that the light was that much more intense in that area than anywhere else on the surface of the earth. Now, if the sun were actually at a distance of 93 million miles away, all the rays from the sun would hit the earth parallel. But the fact of the matter is, there's pictures, and you've seen these things more than likely, or you're seeing one right here, of the sun seemingly sitting right above the clouds where the rays kind of splay out into these different directions, showing where if you trace the rays back to these, you know, this singular source, these are called crepuscular rays. If you trace these rays back to the source from each side, you'll see it goes straight to the sun, and you can pretty much triangulate the location of the sun using those sun rays. The only thing is, we've been brainwashed for so long to believe that the sun's so far away that when we see these rays, we'll say, you know, that's just a coincidence, it's some sort of optical illusion, or, you know, the sun's actually at that distance, but it's refraction. You know, light works differently out there with the sun, when in actuality that's not the case. You know, as far as the temperature differences concerning the sun, you know, we're told we're in this Goldilocks zone. We're in this perfect space where we're not so close to the sun that we would actually burn, and we're not so far away from the sun that we would all freeze to death. You know, this wouldn't be like an ice planet. You know, so my question here, because I'm a simple guy, this is a simple question. The sun's 93 million miles away. If we were any closer to the sun, we'd be on fire, right? So you'd like to think that everything within 92 million miles away would be ablaze, wouldn't you? Because that's what we're told, right? We're in the Goldilocks zone. If we were closer, we would be on fire, right? That's what the trusted scientific community tells us, right? I want you to think about that stuff, you know? Also, concerning the sun at that distance, realize this, try to acknowledge this fact that every time you see the sun out in space, you always see this big orange ball, and you see these solar flares, you know, just kind of jumping off the surface, and you know, it's all looks like hot lava. It's orange, this molten ball out in the middle of space, and behind this big orange ball, you always see this black background. The background is always jet black. But when you go outside and you look up and you see the sun looks like more of a yellow spotlight, small, local. And what do you see with your own eyes behind the sun? You always see blue. When you go outside and you look up at the sun, you see a blue background. So why is it that here on Earth, you look up and you see the sun, and the sun always has a blue background, but when you see these official images from the trusted scientific community and the good folks over at NASA who are raking in that $52 million a day, you see the sun and it's always a black background. Why does that happen? Why does it look that way? Ask these questions to yourself. You know, the size comparison of the Earth goes as follows. They tell us that the Earth is 400 times smaller than the sun. Vice versa, the sun is 400 times larger than the Earth, is what they tell us. By comparison, looks a little something like this. Now, there's also video representation where there's one pilot. He shows that he's flying at 35,000 feet. And what he does, he takes his camera, shows the controls, shows his altitude, and out of the window on the right side, he shows the moon off in the distance, and it's nice and dark. And what he does, he pans his camera around to the left over a seemingly flat surface because you can't see any curvature at that 35,000 feet. And then he shows the sun. And the sun in this video looks small, looks local. It looks like it's sitting right above the clouds. You know, but there's also another video from a pilot where he shows the controls at 38,000 feet. What does he do? He gives a big thumbs up, smiles at the camera, and it cuts to another clip from that same cockpit, and the camera shows the clouds out of the right side of the window, I believe it was. And over these clouds, inside these clouds, you see this large orange bright object. Now, they're at 38,000 feet. You can see that it would appear that the sun is not up in the sky, but perhaps that, you know, from this evidence, it looks like the sun is in the clouds when he's flying that airplane in that particular video. You know, there's more evidence for a close, small, local sun. You know, there was a guy on the beach where he talked you through his video, and he said, I knew that this was going to be a good day to get a good video of the sun with clouds behind it on the beach. So he took his P900 and he zoomed in on the sun, and you could see clouds behind the sun, signifying that the sun is not 93 million miles away or 400 times the size of the Earth. You know, and if you actually just trust your senses, if you can hop on YouTube, or you can, you know, take a look at this video and find additional videos, you're going to find that there are time lapses that people have taken of the sun moving across the sky. And while the sun's moving across the sky, you'll notice that the Earth seems to be stationary. Like, the Earth isn't moving, the buildings that you see aren't moving. You see the sun drifting across the sky. So what does that tell you? We're told that the Earth is rotating around the sun, yet we feel no movement. We don't see any motion. We don't feel any motion out here. But we feel stillness when we go outside. And in the time lapse, you see the sun moving across the sky, just like that. So what does that tell you? I believe that tells you to trust your senses. And what does your senses tell you? Your senses tell you that the sun is the thing that's moving and that the Earth is flat and stationary. But let's go on. Now, I was thinking to myself the other day, you know, concerning the sun, that in our graphical images, say Google Earth, things like that, we're shown the Earth and the sun is off in the distance and it lights up half of the globe, right? I mean, we can agree on the fact that the sun lights up exactly half of the globe, because that's what we're told by the heliocentric enthusiasts in the trusted scientific community. At any given time, the sun is lighting up half of the globe. Correct? Okay. So, knowing that, I thought to myself, there should be absolutely no way that you would be able to see the sun in, say, I don't know, the UK and Australia at the same time. Now, I'm in Tacoma, so I can't really, do any sort of visual footage like that by myself. And I thought to myself, you shouldn't be able to see the sun from those two locations at the same time, because at some point the sun's going to be behind the curvature of the earth, right? So I thought to myself, you've made a few friends over the last couple of months. Last 4 or 5 months or so. I've made some friends across this flat plain. So I thought to myself, I know a guy in the UK, my buddy Matt, and I know a guy in Australia, my buddy Luke. So I decided to give him a call. And let me tell you a little story. Actually, I won't tell you about it. I'll just show you what happened. And here we go. Hey Matt, how's it going?
Yeah, good.
Fantastic. All right, just doing a time check. About what time is it where you are?
21:03, so 3 minutes past 9.
3 minutes past 9. Here, what's your location, sir?
Halifax, West Yorkshire, in Bradford. 1 sec. I'm in Bradford, West Yorkshire. There you go, and there's proof.
Bradford.
Keighley, Brighouse, Bradford.
Fantastic. All right, let me see, about 9:03, Bradford, Yorkshire. Let me see. Here, where's the sun right about then?
Where it is now, Daryl, mate, it is just in the distance. It's just over the hill. You can see it just about in the distance there.
All right. That's awesome.
You see it?
Beautiful sunset.
So it's just about over the hill, but you make out the rays about still.
Yep.
And behind me, you've got darkness.
That's awesome. Here, I'm in Tacoma, Washington right now. Check it. I got the Tacoma Dome back behind me in the distance. And then you can see the Tacoma skyline back here over the city. So that's where I'm at, and we're looking at the same sun. That's fantastic. All right. Well, I appreciate you participating in this project. And
no worries. Hey, that's fine.
Thank you, sir. You have a fantastic night. I'll see you soon.
See you, mate.
Stay fly. My man Luke, how's it going?
Yep.
Fantastic, sir. Here, about what time is it?
It's 6:06 a.m.
6:06 a.m. And what's your location, sir?
I am in a small town called Biloela in central Queensland, Australia. I'm standing outside the Callide Valley Lions Park, the corner of the Dawson Highway and Cooper Street.
Awesome. That's fantastic. All right, so that's the time, location, and you can see the sun out there. It's about sunrise.
I'm in a bit of a valley, but the sun's just coming up over to from memory, I think it's about northeast, about 60 degrees. That's just off the top of my head, but
all good. All right, sounds good. I am currently in Tacoma, Washington. Got the sun right above my head right here, as you can see. I got the Tacoma skyline in my background over here, as you can see also, and the world famous Tacoma Dome in the distance. So that's my location. So yeah, man, I'd like to thank you for your participation in this project. I'll talk to you a little bit later, buddy.
No worries. Notice the nice shadow on the moon up there behind me also.
Oh, you got the moon too. That's sick.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, take care.
All
Talk
right,
soon.
Luke. Stay flat.
You too.
Yes, sir.
Always.
All right. Later. Editor's note. Graphical representation provided to us by the trusted scientific community always shows half the Earth receiving light from the sun, which on a globe Earth that rotates approximately every 24 hours, we should expect there to be a definitive 12-hour allowance for all points on the Earth that receive the sun's light. You just saw the sun at 9:03 p.m. and 6:03 a.m. This signifies a 15-hour period of illumination, which is not consistent with the heliocentric model.
So you were able to see right there in that video that the sun was visible from the west coast of the UK in Yorkshire, England. You were able to see that the sun was rising on the east coast of Queensland, Australia. You were able to see that the sun was above my head here in Tacoma at 1:03 in the afternoon. Now I want to ask you, do you believe that's possible on a globe? I mean, the sun should have been hidden behind the curvature on one of these places, right? It shouldn't have been visible in all three places at the same time. But it was. So what does that tell you? Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Earth is flat. You've been lied to. At this point, I encourage you to spread this information with everyone that you know as quickly as possible, because this is a big deal. This may be the biggest revelation that needs to be uncovered in this world. We've been misled about the whole structure, the whole nature of our reality. And that's all I got for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Be sure to hit the bell in order to get notifications when I upload a new video. Also, be sure to link up with myself and the crew over at The Future of Flat Earth or Flat Life on Facebook. And as always, be good to each other. Take care. Stay flat. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.